Hello everyone, my name is Namir Qureshi and I want to welcome you to Unfolding Destiny, where we teach you how to build your life within the context of your true identity. Today we're going to talk about Peter Thiel and his book 0 to 1. So as you may know, or if you don't know now you will know, Peter Thiel is one of the co-founders of PayPal, co-founder of Palantir. He's one of the early investors in Facebook. He sits on their board. He also has his own investment fund called the Founders Fund. He teaches at Stanford and he's got his own Juris Doctorate, a JD. This guy really knows his stuff. Now back in 2014, he wrote a book called 0 to 1, which is like his own personal mini manifesto, so to speak. This book highly recommends that we build towards innovation instead of competition. So let's talk about that, and then I'm going to offer you my perspective about how you can integrate this within your own personal life and your own personal brand. So let's begin. 0 to 1 talks about innovation versus competition. Let's talk about competition first. Competition-based business models are like your mom and pop shops, your brick and mortars. Let's talk about pizzerias, nail salons, laundromats, hair salons, bakeries, things of that nature. So let's just focus on pizzerias. Now, I'm not bad-mouthing pizzerias. I love pizza myself. But let's just talk about pizza as a business model. When you look at pizza, it's a similar product. When you look at one pizzeria and another pizzeria, they both sell pizza. They might sell sides and fries and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, the product is pretty much the same. When you look at businesses that are in competition, the only way that they can really stay in business is through differentiation. And they make that differentiation known through marketing. So you take Pizza Shop 1 versus Pizza Shop 2. One might say, oh, well, even though we sell pizza, our ingredients come from Italy. The other pizza shop might say, well, even though we sell pizza and our ingredients may not come from Italy, our ingredients come from a secret family recipe that was passed down for, I don't know, hundreds of years. So they have to differentiate. And then on top of that, it gets pretty difficult to stay in business because their margins are razor thin. If two pizzerias are within the same 2 or 3 mile radius, they're definitely competing with each other. They're going to be putting their deals up on Groupon. They're going to have coupons and offers, and it gets pretty competitive, and it's hard to stay in business after you've paid your employees and paid their salaries and you paid the bills and you've got the lights running and the electricity paid. There's not much more left. So then you need to focus on volume because the margins are razor thin. So then you have to open up another pizzeria. You have to open up another shop. And that's kind of how you can get successful in that business model. In the competition world, things can get pretty barbaric. And then let's say you wanted to do something like have your own water bottle. Let's just say you want to sell bottled water. Well, now you're competing with the likes of Coca-Cola, Aquafina, Fiji, Avian, and it gets really hard. Even for those companies, when their margins are razor thin, they have to sell in volume. So it gets really competitive. And what Peter offers you is this explanation or this diagram. The whole book 0 to 1 is based off of this philosophy here. So let me just draw this out. If you look at a chart, and let's put down on the x-axis, well, at the origin, 0, okay? On the x-axis, you have over here n. It's a horizontal line. On this axis here, what we have is something that Peter called globalization. When you talk about globalization, what you're really talking about is just keeping up with the Joneses. So in his book, he gives you the example of a typewriter. Let's say your company produces a typewriter. Now, in order to stay in business, you have to differentiate yourself. But you're really globalizing. You're just trying to produce a mass volume. So your typewriter might be a brown colored typewriter with a certain type of key. And then another country comes in and they take that same exact idea and they mass produce it. They might put a spin on it, but they're globalizing the same thing that you're creating. So there isn't any real true growth here. On the other axis, on the y-axis, you have 0 to 1. And at 0 to 1, you're focusing on innovation. Okay? So innovation is the idea that you're creating something that has never been created before. And so I want to read to you a quote from 0 to 1. In his book, Peter writes, "Perfect equilibrium may describe the void that is most of the universe. It may even characterize many businesses. But every new creation takes place far from equilibrium. In the real world, outside economic theory, every business is successful exactly to the extent that it does something others cannot. Monopoly is therefore not a pathology or an exception. Monopoly is the condition of every successful business." Tolstoy opens up Anna Karenina by observing, "All happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Business is the opposite. All happy companies are different. Each one earns monopoly by solving a unique problem. All failed companies are the same. They failed to escape competition." So his whole philosophy is that you want to escape competition the best that you can. Actually, I might be being a little kind here. He doesn't say the best that you can. He's ruthless about it. You want to escape competition at all costs. You want to go towards innovation. So now when you go to innovation, you're talking about monopolization. Let's really talk about monopolization. Monopolies are interesting. They really are wolves disguised in sheep's clothing. So when you think about a monopoly, you're really thinking about a company that doesn't want to call out the fact that it is a monopoly. So let's give you an example. You take a look at a company like Google. And now, truthfully, it has cornered search. It has the market share. Sure, there are competitors like Bing and maybe Alta Vista and, I don't know, DuckDuckGo, but by and large, Google is the main search engine. Everyone's using it. It has that corner of the world, it has that sector of the world cornered. It just has it. Now, Google itself, what it says is that, look, we're not that monopoly that you think of. We're actually part of a bigger company. We're just a part of a bigger company called Alphabet. So Google is smaller than Alphabet. So Alphabet is a big company that has smaller companies like Google, and then there's like the bots division that they have and everything else that they've got going on. But what you'll find is when it comes to monopolies, they actually don't want to bring that to attention. They don't want people to know that they are monopolies. So you take a look at companies like Instagram or WhatsApp. They're huge. Instagram has billions of followers. WhatsApp has billions of users, but they're part of a bigger company called Facebook. Now, who's to say, maybe Facebook someday might say that we're part of a bigger company as well. Facebook is another company that's innovating. In his book, in Peter Thiel's book, 0 to 1, he says that true innovation happens only once in business history. There will never be another Facebook, another Twitter, another Instagram, another Google. There will never be another Microsoft, another Apple. These things happen only once and they never happen again. So when you focus on innovation, you're creating something that's never been created before. And in effect, in that case, you do not have to focus on your product specifically because you have something that stands out. And so another thing that he says, and I'm just going to read one more passage to you, or one more quote, is he says focus on product itself and not sales of that product. So if your product requires advertising on salespeople to sell it, it's not good enough. Technology is primarily about product development, not distribution. Bubble era advertising was obviously wasteful, so the only sustainable growth is viral growth. What this means is that In this case, if you create something that's truly revolutionary, that has never been done before, that speaks to the masses in terms of what they really want, if you truly create a product that in and of itself is differentiated by the fact that it just no one else can produce it, no one else has created it, then you have innovated. Then you've gone from 0 to 1. And what he urges you in his book is to please focus more towards innovation. As a matter of fact, when it comes to investing, his rule is, and this is powerful, that when he's choosing to invest into a company, he invests by the one qualification that he has to believe that this one company that he's about to invest in has the capability of outperforming all the other companies in that portfolio combined. And that's the only rule, and that's why he invests into companies like Facebook and Palantir. So it's a very powerful rule that helps you discern between which types of businesses you should invest in and which ones you shouldn't. It's a very strict rule that he goes by, and he's been successful following it. And so now here's my take on it. So yes, you have competition, you have monopolization. And yes, I believe that monopolization should exist. I mean, I don't mean that you should break government rules. I know having a monopoly is illegal. But let's philosophically speaking, the way these companies are, there is no competition. So in that case, they, in a way, have a monopoly. What I would say is, though, okay, the best that you can, please do focus on innovation. Go from 0 to 1, but he's ruthless. Peter Thiel's ruthless in his approach, and I love him for it, and I will not criticize him for that approach. In many ways, I also think that this is the way it should go. I think that you should do something that has never been done before, that cannot be copied. I think that that should be your aim. Having said that, we still need pizzerias, we still need your brick and mortars, we still need mom and pop shops, we still need bakeries, we still need nail salons and things of that nature. And so what I want to say to you is that instead of being completely like binary about it, it's not just 0 to N versus 0 to 1. Maybe there's a way to kind of learn from his philosophy and apply it to your own personal brand. So what I would say is this: if you're gonna go towards something that's already been done, and I'm not just talking about pizzerias here, by the way. Let's say you want to become a doctor. Let's say you want to be a lawyer. Maybe you want to be an engineer. Maybe you want to be a specialist in the knowledge economy. And then heck, maybe you do want to open up a nail salon. I'm not stopping you there, right? Maybe you want to open up a coffee house, right? A coffee shop. And so the thing is, I don't want you to focus on differentiating yourself through your marketing. Don't just say, well, we are open from 9 to 6 as opposed to them being open only until from 9 to 2. That's not going to work. That's not going to help you stand out. And as a matter of fact, I'd also agree with Peter Thiel. The more you try to focus on trying to figure out a way to differentiate yourself, the more you get caught up in this competition bubble where the margins are completely razor thin. And it can get pretty barbaric. At that point, I mean, if you want to play last man standing, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. If you want to do this whole thing where it's like you're starting a brick and mortar shop and you just want to outsell your competition and be the number one business left in that category, sure. I think that's a very tough battle. I don't want to do that myself. Here's what I would offer you, okay? Personalization is the way to go. So what does that mean? So with personalization, you can take an existing business model, such as something in the specialist community, in the knowledge community, like being a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or you can have something that's like a shop, like a nail salon or a coffee shop, that type of thing. You can have something that already exists, that already has competition. But what I would recommend that you do is figure out your own personal brand behind it. See, when you know who you are at the core, when you understand, and I'm going to just kind of write over here because there's space over here. I'm not putting this within this chart. I don't want to confuse you. And actually, well, I'm not even going to erase it. Just bear with me here. But when you focus on identity, when you focus on your true self, and you build from that, you're already differentiated. See, here's the thing. There will never be another you. And as cliche as it sounds, but you are unique, and you have to embrace that self. You have to understand that you have a story that no one else has. You've gone through struggles that nobody else has gone through. You have a perspective that nobody else has. And you can take that and transmute that into your own personal brand, and you can personalize it. Suddenly you're not just a doctor, you're not just a surgeon, and you're not just a lawyer or whatever, or a pharmacist. I mean, you put a spin onto your own narrative by sharing who you are through what you're doing. You're already going to attract a following. Suddenly, people aren't just going to come to your coffee shop because it's the closest thing in town. They're going to come to your coffee shop because they recognize you as the brand behind it. There's a reason why Kylie Jenner can make billions of, well, she's maybe hundreds of millions of dollars, right? I think she's about to become a billionaire. There's a reason why Kylie Jenner can make so much money selling cosmetics, lip gloss, whereas you can sell the same lip gloss and not make anything off of it. The reason why her stuff sells out is because her brand is behind it. So what I want to let you know is that the more you focus on understanding your identity and who you are at the core, and knowing your story and knowing what drives you, the better you're able to express that through the brands that you create and the businesses that you work under. So, okay, you might not create something as prolific as Facebook, as Google, as Palantir, as Microsoft, but I would still recommend the more you can align yourself with the 0 to 1 axis, the y-axis, the more successful your brand will be. Even if you are in a competition-based business model, your personal brand is what's going to set you apart from others. And in that case, here's the beauty of it. I don't really follow Kylie Jenner. I don't buy her product, but I don't think she's out there saying, oh, hey, by the way, my lip gloss is better than the competition because it has this chemical ingredient, whatever. And no, I'm Kylie Jenner, buy my product. And that's kind of how you want to structure yourself. So if you're in business, do people know you? Do they know what you stand for? And you know, at Unfolding Destiny, that's what we help people out with. If you need help with that, just kind of contact me. I can kind of walk you through it. And we do offer coaching in that regard. But what I want to let you know is that the more you focus on personalization, the better off you will be. So remember that. If you found value in this video, if you liked it, please share it, comment on it. Follow me on Instagram under Unfolding Destiny and Numair.co, and follow me on YouTube as well. Anyway, go to unfoldingdestiny.com and download your free Rules of Legacy poster while it's still available. Anyway, it's been a pleasure, and thank you for watching. You have a great one. Take care. Bye.